stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. I'm Dave Michaels with this week's edition of Spot Crime, where we highlight crimes reported in the CSRA. 12 people have been shot in the Augusta area, 5 of whom died from their injuries within the last couple of weeks. Here's a rundown of those shootings. 3 on Kensington Drive, 1 fatal, Marquette Eubanks, 19, 2 non-fatal, Jeremy Whitehead, 21, and Latrice Nelson, also 21. 3 on Staten Court and Pepperidge Subdivision, Brandy Polkett Wilson and Lee Wilson, both fatal, and April Polkett, non-fatal. 1 non-fatal at Rays Creek's Mobile Home Park, Eli Terrell Bell, 21. 1 fatal in the 800 block of Fayetteville Drive, Lamar King, 27. 1 non-fatal on Deansbridge Road at Tobacco Road, Steve Adams, 20. 1 non-fatal on 11th Avenue. And 2 shootings at the Augusta Department of Corrections Probation Office. 1 was Travis Burrell, 29. He walked in alive and came out dead. Another one shot is an unidentified female probation officer. We've had 92 assaults around the CSRA that took place on the 1000 block of Ulrich Avenue, on Curry Street, on the 500 block of Broad Street, the 700 block of Ellis Street, the 1800 block of Telfair Street, the 1600 block of McCalsey Street, the 2100 block of 3rd Avenue, 3800 block of Mike Paget Highway, the 3900 block of Carleen Street, the 2800 block of Tobacco Road, the 200 block of Memory Drive, the 2800 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 2000 block of Lumpkin Street, the 2400 block of Dansville Street, the 3500 block of Hilltop Drive, the 2400 block of Cougar Drive, the 2800 block of Deansbridge Road, the 1000 block of Clausen Road, the 2600 block of Thomas Lane, the 1100 block of Beeman Street, the 2600 block of Barton Chapel Road, the 4600 block of Elderly Drive, the 1500 block of Mill Street, the 2300 block of Riceboro Road, the 2600 block of Columbine Drive, the 2300 block of Greengate Drive, the 2300 block of Basswood Drive, the 2800 block of Ann Street, the 2800 block of Fleming Drive, the 3500 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 3800 block of Beacon Drive, 1 on April Street on East Boundary, the 2900 block of Arrowhead Drive, the 1300 block of Calkin Avenue, the 2400 block of Cougar Court, the 3000 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 3800 block of Old Waynesboro Road, the 3700 block of Teakwood Court, the 2100 block of F Court, the 100 block of C Street, the 2600 block of Carrington Drive, the 2600 block of Washington Road, the 4300 block of Seagull Road, the 1900 block of Robinson Road, the 300 block of Barber Road, the 3600 block of Sealy Drive, the 4100 block of Foreman Way, the 4100 block of Daisy Lane, the 500 block of Richmond Hill Road, the 600 block of Broad Street, the 3500 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 2200 block of Darlington Drive, the 1700 block of Mill Street, the 2200 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 2500 block of Milledgeville Road, the 1900 block of Barnes Road, the 3600 block of Wexford Court, the 1600 block of the Gordon Highway, 1 on the Bobby Jones Expressway, the 2200 block of Alabama Lane Drive, the 2000 block of Old Savannah Road, the 3000 block of Strickland Court, the 2100 block of Gordon Highway, the 1500 block of Abbey Way, the 4000 block of Madison Lane, the 500 block of Ellis Street, the 2200 block of Highland Avenue, the 4700 block of Story Mill Road, the 2300 block of Greengate Drive, one on East Boundary Street, the 2800 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 2900 block of Arrowhead Drive, the 2800 block of Washington Road, the 3600 block of Spanish Court, the 2700 block of Duffdown Street, the 2100 block of Shirley Avenue, the 3600 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 3200 block of Deansbridge Road, the 300 block of Brandywine Place, the 1000 block of Orrich Avenue, the 700 block of DeMarket Street, the 400 block of Penticane Way, the 1400 block of Springfield Court, the 2300 block of Riceboro Road, the 1000 block of Bedford Drive, the 2000 block of Harrell Road, the 900 block of Cross Tree Court, and the 1700 block of S.E. McIntyre Boulevard. We've had 52 burglaries around the CSRA. One occurred on the 2100 block of Martin Luther King Boulevard, 1800 block of the Gordon Highway, the 2300 block of Prague Court, the 500 block of Sanctuary Drive, the 1500 block of Mill Street, the 700 block of Lavelle Court, the 500 block of Balher Avenue, the 1900 block of Watkins Street, the 2000 block of Willow Street, a 2500 block of Reese Avenue, the 3100 block of Skinner Mill Road, the 2600 block of Thomas Lane, the 1900 block of Warren Street, the 1500 block of 15th Street, the 2100 block of Stevens Road, the 3200 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 4400 block of Old Waynesboro Road, the 300 block of 3rd Street, the 3700 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 3600 block of Jonathan Circle, the 2300 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 2300 block of Old McDuffie Road, the 3500 block of Winter Springs Road, the 3900 block of Bird Road, the 1000 block of Tree Haven Road, the 4500 block of Ederly Road, the 1900 block of Battle Row, the 3000 block of Washington Road, the 2500 block of Reese Avenue, the 1900 block of Olive Road, the 1100 block of Millage Road, the 2600 block of East Borain Court, the 2600 block of Cairo Drive, the 2600 block of Perimeter Parkway, the 2000 block of Sampio Court, the 1900 block of Warren Street, the 2100 block of Tubman Hone Road, the 1900 block of the Gordon Highway, the 3400 block of Stony Brook Road, the 2500 block of Nunnery Road, the 3500 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 3400 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 2600 block of Thomas Lane, the 2300 block of Mason Road, the 800 block of Spruce Street, the 1900 block of Lumpkin Road, the 200 block of Green Street, the 300 block of Telfair Street, the 1900 block of Olive Road, the 1000 block of Stevens Creek Road, the 3500 block of Buckner Drive, the 2600 block of Deansbridge Road, the 2500 block of Hanover Street, the 1900 block of Ohio Avenue, the 3800 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 2800 block of Lake Erie Drive, the 2100 block of Stevens Road, the 2300 block of Rockview Drive, the 1200 block of the Gordon Highway, and the 700 block of Monroe's Court. We've had 3 robberies, one on the 800 block of Brits Lane, one on the Gordon Highway, and one on the 300 block of Walker Street. One arson on the 2600 block of Kipling Road. We've had 6 reckless conduct charges on the 1000 block of River Ridge Road, the 2800 block of Rocky Creek Road, the 3600 block of Brussels Street, the 1200 block of Brown Road, the 3700 block of Wheeler Road, and one on Washington Road. 9 charges of damage to property on the 500 block of Railroad Avenue, the 100 block of Clark Street, the 3100 block of Edinburgh Drive, the 2100 block of Tubman Home Road, the 2300 block of Gerald Drive, the 200 block of the Robert C. Daniel Parkway, the 400 block of Green Street, the 2500 block of Sanders Drive, and the 3000 block of Stanford Drive. And we've had 1 drug arrest in the CSRA on the 2400 block of Peach Orchard Road. If you know anything about these crimes or any other crimes, please text your tips to 803-441-8744, where you'll always remain anonymous, and you tell us where to stack your cash rewards. I'm Dave Michael.
Richmond County Sheriff's deputies are looking for who stole 4 vehicles in less than 9 hours Tuesday, July 30th. First, deputies were dispatched to Kendrick's Paint and Body at 1333 Broad Street about 5 a.m. in the morning, where John Curry of Augusta told deputies that he had left the company's 1995 Ford F-150 running in front of Kendrick's Paint and Body while he ran inside to get an item. Then, when he came out, the truck was gone. 3 hours later, deputies were called to the 1100 block of Peters Road, where Licia Thomas of Augusta told police her 2004 Dodge Stratus was taken from the parking lot of the Allen Homes apartment complex. Thomas said that she saw 2 unknown males entering her car using a lockout tool. About 11 a.m., Goran Taylor of Augusta told deputies his 2006 Suzuki motorcycle had been stolen from the parking lot of Traditions at Augusta at 3727 Walton Way Extension. Taylor said his motorcycle was stolen between 12:30 a.m. and 7:45 a.m. Monday. Around noon, Cora Smith of the 1900 block of Murphy Road in Augusta reported her 87 Chrysler 5th Avenue missing. Smith told deputies that the driver's side door was unlocked. If you think you know anything about any of these thefts, please call investigator Terry Gore at 706-821-1020 or call your tip into Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or text your tip to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you can remain anonymous. The rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers where to stack your cash.
The Trunk Monkey Theft Retrieval System. Because sometimes getting your car back is simply not enough. Another revolutionary idea. You'll only find at Suburban Auto Group, pending approval from the Department of Agriculture.
I'm Dave Michaels with this Crime Reports and Rewards special report. While the prostitutes are busy covering the George Zimmerman trial, they were overlooking another very important trial, Bradley Manning. In fact, even after the verdict has been delivered, the media focuses on Zimmerman getting a speeding ticket over this trial. Okay, if they don't want to report on it, we will.
On June 30th, 2013, Bradley Manning, a U.S. Army private who leaked a number of classified documents, was convicted of 7 out of 8 espionage charges, 5 theft charges, 2 computer fraud charges, 5 military counts of violating a lawful general regulation, and one charge of wanton publication of intelligence on the internet. Though he was not found guilty of the aiding the enemy charges, he still faces up to 136 years in prison. The mainstream media has focused people's attention on a set of leaked cables released by Manning, which were really little more than diplomatic gossip. For example, there was one that described former Australian Prime Minister Kevin Rudd as a mistake-prone control freak. However, the leak that really made waves and which got the attention of the public was the video which came to be known as Collateral Murder. This is the video which depicted an Apache helicopter crew intentionally gunning down a crowd of unarmed civilians. These civilians just happened to be reporters. The grand irony here is that while Bradley Manning has spent over 3 years in prison already for releasing this footage, 11 months of this in solitary confinement, the men who actually gunned down the civilians were not charged with any crime. To add insult to injury, a number of prominent U.S. politicians actually had the gall to issue public statements condemning Manning. An example of this was the joint statement made by the Democratic and Republican leaders of the U.S. House of Representatives Intelligence Committee after the ruling, which claimed that, quote, justice had been served, and that Manning harmed our national security, violated the public's trust, and now stands convicted of multiple serious crimes. Not surprisingly, this statement was put forward by Chairman Mike Rogers, a Republican, and Democrat Dutch Ruppersberger, who just happened to have been two of the most ardent backers of the CISPA internet security bill. So what does this Bradley Manning case tell us about America? Well, let's put this into context. We have Bush, Cheney, and their cronies who fabricate stories of weapons of mass destruction to get us to invade Iraq, the result of which was well over 1 million civilians dead, countless wounded, and an entire nation left in ruins. Are Bush and Cheney in jail? No, of course not. They're still out walking free like nothing ever happened. Bush even got a library named after him. Then we have Clinton, who kept Iraq under draconian sanctions for the entire 8 years he was in office, knowing full well that hundreds of thousands of children were dying as a result.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it? I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
Clinton's not behind bars, nor is Madeleine Albright or Vice President Gore. In fact, Clinton and Gore still get to prance around like humanitarians. They travel around the world giving speeches and basking in the adoration of the uninformed. Then we have Obama, a man who came into office on promises of hope and change, transparency and justice. A Nobel Peace Prize winner to boot, who instead expanded Bush's drone wars, expanded the Patriot Act by signing the NDAA of 2012 and 2013, who invaded Libya and has been sending weapons and money to violent extremists in Syria, not to mention his involvement in Operation Fast and Furious, in which the U.S. government intentionally smuggled thousands of guns to Mexican drug cartels, guns which have been used in hundreds, if not thousands of murders on both sides of the border. Yet he's not facing charges. Nope, in fact, he and his wife are quite happily taking multi-million-dollar vacations with your tax dollars. Bradley Manning was found guilty of 20 charges and faces up to 136 years in prison. Yet these mass-murdering scumbags that like to pass themselves off as leaders get bodyguards for life, a monthly paycheck for life which equals out to about $200,000 a year, plus $96,000 a year for a small office staff. Taxpayers also pick up the tab for other expenses like staff benefits, travel, office space, and postage. So what does that tell us? That tells us that justice in America has nothing to do with morality and everything to do with money and power. These narcissistic control freaks at the wheel have no problem causing the deaths of millions of civilians. But anyone who tarnishes their precious little image, anyone who dares expose even a fraction of their crimes to the public, is a traitor and a threat to national security. Listening to these politicians comment on the Manning case is like getting a lecture on ethics from Goebbels or Stalin. When exposing war crimes is rewarded with jail time, while mass murderers walk free, it's time to acknowledge that the insane are running the asylum. America isn't becoming a police state. It already is one.
I'm Dave Michael.
The older black male you see on your screen used a counterfeit check to take over $300 in merchandise from the Evans Target on July 13th. This black male told the clerk to process the check as a traveler's check instead of a personal check. He also tried to use a second check for another set of merchandise, but the on-duty manager denied the second check. The store later found out the first check was bogus. If you think you recognize this older black male check fraud, please call Captain Steve Morris of the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-2800. If you're riding around and seeing this fleeing and evading suspect, all you have to do is get his tag number and a description of the car he's riding in and call our nationwide toll-free tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, or text your tip to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you can remain anonymous, the rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers where to stack your cash. Columbia County Sheriff's Office Captain Steve Morris is asking for your help finding a black male suspect who pulled the old snatchback over on a Goodwill employee at the Martinez Goodwill store on Washington Road in Martinez. The black male subject, wearing a red hat and shoes you see on your screen, entered a Goodwill, selected a pair of blue jeans for $4, then gave the clerk a $100 bill. When the clerk was putting the $100 bill away, he snatched the $100 bill back, then gave her 32 cents in change, as if the clerk had already put the $100 bill in their drawer. So the clerk gave the black male wearing a red hat and red shoes back $96 in change, thinking they had already placed the $100 bill in the drawer, because it was no longer in her hand where the black male wearing the red hat and red shoes had snatched it back from. This scam is repeated over and over, and many of its victims are too ashamed they were tricked so easily few report this to the police. Suspects in this crime will even threaten to call the cops. If anybody pays for a small purchase with a large bill, watch for the snatchback, just as you're putting the bill under the change drawer, and get ready for a distraction, as they often work in pairs. An accomplice will usually start a distraction, so don't let them distract you. They'll get you to look them in the eye by laughing and smiling, or in this case, by tipping his hat while you're trying to put the bill away, so you don't see them snatching back the large bill. If you don't look away from the money, the scam won't work, so don't look away from the money. If you think you know who or where this black male is, please call Captain Steve Morris of the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-1042, or call your tip in to Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, or text your tip to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you can remain anonymous, the rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers where to stack your cash. On Tuesday, July 9th at 1300 hours, deputies responded to 1812 Sherrill Drive in regards to a home invasion. Upon arrival, it was learned that 3 unidentified black males entered the residence by forcing their way into the front door. You'll remember Crime Stoppers showed you a very simple tip on how to take a threshold and screw it into the faceplate so that whenever your door bolts into the side of your door, it's very hard to kick in your door or force open your door, just like this home invasion happened. Once inside, 2 of the 3 suspects ransacked the residence, while the 3rd suspect held the residence at gunpoint. The suspects were last seen fleeing the scene, traveling in a golden-colored Dodge Stratus with tinted windows and numerous items from the residence. The suspects are described as 1 black male who was 5'8", about 150 pounds, had a white t-shirt and khaki shorts with a white t-shirt wrapped over his face, brandishing an automatic handgun. The 2nd suspect was a black male with a large frame, wearing black shorts with a khaki buttoned-up shirt and a white shirt wrapped around his face, brandishing an automatic handgun. The 3rd suspect was a black male who was about 5'9" and 160 pounds, wearing a type of polo shirt, turquoise in color, with white stripes, blue jean shorts, and blue and white tennis shoes, and a white shirt wrapped around his face, brandishing an automatic handgun. There were no reports of injuries, although the family was traumatized and their piece has been stolen. Sheriff's investigators are currently investigating this incident. Further details involving this investigation may be seen by going to Facebook and searching for AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or Crime Reports and Rewards. If you think you know how police may find these home invaders, please call Sergeant Shane McDaniel at 706-821-1003. If you want cash, text or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or text or call to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you'll always remain anonymous. The rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers where to stack your cash. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office reports an Augusta man was shot twice while in his own bed at 3 a.m. in the morning, July 31st. Authorities have determined the gunfire came from outside the man's home. The victim was asleep when shots were fired from outside his home into his home at 1111 11th Avenue. The victim was transported to GRU Hospital, where he was listed in critical condition. Investigators have no suspects at this time. If you know who did this or have any information about this shooting, please call Major Scott Peoples of the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at 706-821-1080 or call your tip into Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or text your tip to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you can remain anonymous. The rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers where to stack your cash.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Researchers at the Georgia Institute of Technology and AugustaCrimeStoppers.org are researching software to recognize a person's walk or movements. Results indicate these new identification methods hold promise as tools to stop crime by identifying suspects from surveillance video that is too blurry or far away to see a face. Gait or movement recognition technology are biometric methods, that is, unique biological or behavioral identification characteristics such as a fingerprint or a face. With movement recognition technology, every part of the body can be covered, but the person is still ID'd by their movements. At Georgia Tech, one study is addressing issues of gait recognition by computer vision. Another is exploring a novel approach, gait recognition with a radar system similar to those used by police officers to catch speeders. Augusta Crime Stoppers is looking at adapting existing software that measures movements within a matrix to figure an identification that may hold up in court right off of raw surveillance video. The ultimate goal is to detect, classify, and identify suspects at great distances, day or night. Such capabilities can catch criminals, enhance the protection of U.S. forces, and stop terror attacks. Gait recognition by radar focuses on the gait cycle formed by the movements of a person's various body parts over time. Researchers correctly identified 80 to 95% of test subjects. The next step is to build a more powerful radar system and test it in the lab and then the field. Researchers are now building a radar system that can identify people from 500 feet or more. Augusta Crime Stoppers' movement recognition method doesn't require a radar gun, just video of any unsolved crimes. We think our method being pioneered right here in Augusta with your support will be more useful, as our method only requires already existing video. If you have any video of an unsolved crime, please post it on the Augusta Crime Stoppers Facebook page or contact us so we can get it on the show as soon as possible. If your video results in a violent criminal being taken off the streets, then you can get a cash reward.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.